Angela is working on impromptu speaking, so speaking with very short notice. And Angela's speech today is titled, "A Girl Walks Into a Pregnancy Center." Angela is a former teen mom who now works as the lead client advocate in a pregnancy and parenting center. So, Angela will be evaluated by Allison. Perfect. Like, oh, there's a blank sheet. Allison, will you please read Angela's objectives?
So her objective, and she's doing a lot for herself, is our organization of her discussion, for impromptu discussion today. It is going to be 7 minutes long, and there's no plan. It's very impromptu, but I have a funny feeling this is close to her heart. So I think she will know kind of what she's doing, but again, organizing it on an unscheduled basis is what the real objective is.
All right, let's welcome Angela.
So the first time I walked into a pregnancy center, I was 14 years old. I already suspected I was pregnant, so the positive pregnancy test was not going to be much of a shocker to me. But as the nurse delivered the news to me, she just stood there with her arms crossed. "It's positive. I'm so sorry." The other nurse stood across the room watching the transaction, hands on her hips. As you can guess, that's a little judgmental feeling. It's very closed off. It's very, "I'm judging you." And I left that day with that judgment around my shoulders and little else besides the tiny, tiny little life in my belly. I left without any hope. I left without any plan. I just left with the positive sign. The second time I walked into a pregnancy center was with my third pregnancy. Now, at this point in time, pregnancy centers were starting to open with a little more warmth, a little more welcoming, a little less judgment. And this new pregnancy center in my small town had opened up, and I went in suspecting I was pregnant, and my life was in shambles. It was actually probably more of a crisis than the one at 14, if you can believe it. And the test was positive again, as I suspected. And this time I got a little, well, let us know if we can help you with anything. Good luck. A little more warmth. None of this, none of this. Nice, have a nice day. Your life is in shambles. Good luck with that. But we didn't sit and talk. We didn't connect. We didn't do anything that was really heart-moving. It was just a test, just to get an answer. About 10 years ago, a little more, a little less, I walked into a pregnancy center, not pregnant. I was working for the community partnership in Teller County, and I was giving a presentation, and I was scared to death, of course, because I had not had any taste of Toastmasters. And I was giving a presentation on this program, and I started to share a little bit of my story with the client advocate there, and she said, "Oh, we gotta get you here." I thought, I don't think so. See, I've been working with young moms trying to encourage young moms, young dads, that their lives were not over because they'd had a pregnancy in their youth. I have been working with the public as much as I could from behind my computer screen to raise awareness that we are not a bunch of losers. We can amount to something. Our lives are not over. We're going to be okay. Stop looking at us and calling us whores and, sleeping around and don't even care about yourself. That wasn't the case. That wasn't my story. And for the great majority of people I met, that wasn't their story either. And yet that was this label we had, the talk shows. I don't know who my baby's daddy is. That was our label. That hurts. But you know what else hurts is religion that's used incorrectly. And I had had religion used incorrectly on me many, many, many times. And so this pregnancy center that I walked into in Woodland Park, where they said, "We gotta get you here," they are faith-based. And I said, don't think so. Because if you'd have come at me with religion during any of my crises, walls. Now, I already had walls in place, so you came at me with your religion and I would have had walls of steel in place. You were not going to penetrate. You were not coming in. So I put that wall up and was not interested in being a part of this pregnancy center until I started seeing what they were doing. They were operating from a place of love, not religion. Or their religion is love. They were operating from a place of saying, I want you to make a good choice for your life. And I'm going to love you no matter what that decision is. No matter what it is. And I'm going to walk that journey with you. So the first time I walked into that pregnancy center to start volunteering, I was cleaning. Not at all what I wanted to do. I'm not a domestic kind of girl, and I really don't like to clean unless I'm trying to procrastinate 50 other things, like writing a speech. So, but I answered this call to get to this pregnancy center because I was in a place of where my healing was beginning before I could go help somebody else heal, before I could go walk a journey with someone else. But I went kicking and screaming. I don't want to go, I don't want to clean. But being in this place and seeing how the advocate and the mentors were working with the clients, that filled me with so much hope. And so I started training to be a mentor. And then I mentored. And my very first client was an addict. And this was her third pregnancy. And she's been judged. She doesn't have custody of her first two children. I saw this girl come in and just downcast, just broken down, all of 22 years old. No one has loved her, no one has given her just love. And she's come in with her wall up. She's here mandated by court. By the way, she doesn't actually want to be here. But she's here, and that's my first client. And my first job with her is to love her. That's it. And so we talk about addiction, and we talk about pregnancy, and we talk about life, and we talk about what's going on with the weather. And slowly this girl comes up. Slowly she's smiling, and oh my gosh, she has the most beautiful smile you've ever seen. And joy starts bubbling up in her, and she becomes so much more. And I realized this is where I can work from, and I never, ever have to even bring my story up because I already know what it's like and I empathize. But I use my story, and I use that experience of walking into a pregnancy center. And at no point in time do I ever, with all the clients I'm ever going to work with, greet them with this, or stand there with this, and just cover them in judgment that the world has already covered them in. Yesterday I sat with a girl who got a positive test, and she cried and tried to convince me how excited she is through her tears, but she was not really excited. And I thought, it's okay. Whatever you're feeling is okay. We're going to walk this journey together. So when you're thinking about where your call is, as Royce has said, sometimes you are in that place where your darkness was, you come out and you try to shine light. And that is where your call is. What is it? Answer the call. Go and be love. Religion or not, faith or not, go be love. Thank you.
I have three excellent. Well done. And our third and final evaluator is Allison, evaluating Angela.
Knowing Angela was going to be speaking about a passionate topic to herself, I knew this was going to be something that, one, she was super comfortable with and super open with because she's done it before, whether talking to individuals at her pregnancy clinic or here. I know we've heard the similar topic. She was really focused on timing, and I thought there was a very clear beginning, middle, and end to her story. So you had that very well defined with how you started from your story, moved to someone else's story, and then concluded how it all came back together from the beginning to the end. No real filler words were used. Every time you had a moment where you were trying to catch your story and where you were at, you just took a simple pause. But you were still engaging, you were still up here. Your body language was telling us that there's still more to be said. And even though those pauses were really, really tiny, it was really good. Really well presented, really well said. You also, great body language. We could see the wall to Mexico in front of you. We could see the judgmental hips. We could see, like, I felt judged just by those things right there. Like, I know this is happening. And so to me, that was very well portrayed in drawing in your audience. You did great facial expressions, great audience contact and engaging everybody. Those who can't share your story and those who can be sympathetic to the story. Other than that, I didn't see much to improve on because you are so passionate at that you've rehearsed that over and over again, whether in actuality or talking to your girls or just communicating in general. So I said, to you that wasn't quite impromptu because it's so in your core, but because it was up here and not rehearsed, I could see how you would have to keep those thoughts going together. So I say, job well done.